Hey, hello. So the Black Ops Cold War Alpha has just ended, and I felt like putting together a quick little video talking about the things I liked and did not like so much about it. So let's just jump right into the things that I liked. To start, one of the first things I noticed was the HUD is significantly better than everything we saw in Black Ops 4. It looks like Treyarch's HUD designers for this game really stepped it up because the HUDs in Black Ops 4 was such a mess. And I gotta say, a bad HUD kinda drives me crazy. I really like that for the first time since Black Ops 2 in 2012, we have multiple factions in multiplayer. I have really missed this, and there's been plenty of opportunities where they could have put it in other games, but this is the first one they've done it in what, 8 years? So I'm happy to see that come back. This isn't something that's necessarily new in Call of Duty, but for Treyarch it is. You can turn off the sound of your hit markers, and I appreciate that a lot. You can also kind of change your hit markers to the damaged based and the standard ones. That's a cool feature. I guess it's up to whatever you prefer, but I'm hoping one day we'll finally get to see the option to turn them off in multiplayer. I don't understand why that's not already a thing. Obviously it's possible. We've seen it in custom games, we've seen it in the Modern Warfare Remastered games. I would like to be able to turn them off one day, but this is a good start. And finally, the thing I liked the most about this alpha in the game so far is just the overall aesthetic. I get very strong Black Ops 1 vibes from this game, and that was my first Call of Duty game. That is, it is, or at least is one of my favorite Call of Duty games, and I'm very glad that it feels so similar in terms of aesthetic, visuals, sound, stuff like that. And those were the most noteworthy things about the alpha that I enjoyed, so now let's talk about the things that I wasn't so fond of. Now, to be fair, some of these complaints I have are gonna be because it's an alpha and the game is not entirely polished, but I still think it's worth bringing up, otherwise it might not get fixed at all. So to start, throughout the game, there are a lot of instances where assets won't load, especially in the creator class. Things just simply wouldn't appear, and it was a little annoying. I also had an issue a lot where the top of my loading screen would get cut off before a match, and I thought it was like a safe area issue, which, by the way, you can only change through your PlayStation settings, not through the game itself. I tried to do that, I tried to fix that. Didn't seem to be an issue with that, so I think they just have to figure out how to size the loading screens maybe, unless I'm just stupid, that's a possibility. But that's an issue. It's not even that big of a deal, it's more of a nitpick, but I couldn't read what was up there. The turrets in the ground war mode were a little overpowered. It seemed like they were very accurate, and they did a lot of damage, and that works when you try and use them against vehicles, but against other players, it's kind of annoying. I feel like it might be better if they just tone down the damage when you use it against another player, but let them be just as effective against vehicles. I think that would be a good way to balance it out. And speaking of the new ground war mode, I know that's not what it's called, but I don't remember what it's called. And maybe this is just like a nitpick, a personal issue. I felt like the announcer talked a little too much sometimes. You'd start to lose a flag, and then you'd start taking a flag, a kill streak would get called in, you'd start winning, you'd start losing. I felt like it could be a lot. It's not so much I want them to change the announcer, but I wish the option to turn off the announcer was in the options. You can turn off your dialogue volume, which is the announcer and any characters talking, but I wish you could individually turn off the announcer. That's been a thing in previous games. I think it would be nice here. I didn't quite get how the operators worked. In Modern Warfare it was simple, you had your two factions, so you picked, one for one faction, one for the other. But now, I think there were at least 4 different factions, but you will go over to the operator tab and you just pick one, I think. I couldn't quite figure it out. I feel like it'd make the most sense if, it listed out all the factions, and then you can go pick the faction and then choose the operator within that faction. And then, you could pick a favorite one to show on in the lobby. I don't know, maybe, again, I might just be stupid not being able to figure this thing out, but I thought it was a little confusing. You can't change the fire mode on your weapons anymore. I really like that in Modern Warfare. I like using semi-auto, I like being able to switch it. I'd like that to come back. Whenever you call in a spy plane, every time it sweeps over your minimap, it beeps for everyone it sees. And that got really annoying eventually, especially in Ground War where, multiple ones were called in at a time and there were more people it would see. It's just, I don't know, I didn't like the beeping. I think that would be something that we could do without. And finally, the thing I had the most trouble with in this alpha, and again, this is probably something that's more because it's an alpha, not the actual game, but the whole thing felt kind of clunky to me. Kind of like all the controls were stiff and nothing really seemed to flow very well. Like if you compare it to Modern Warfare, that's a very smooth and fluid game, but this Black Ops Cold War felt very kind of rough. I don't know how to describe it exactly. I'm assuming that's, it's an alpha thing. It's gonna be more polished and smoother in the beta and then in the final release. I'm not even exactly sure why it felt like this. If you ask me, I think it was kind of about like the animations not flowing together very well. You know, when you went to sprint, your weapon would like kind of go up and then it would go down to the sprint position, which I think felt a little weird. I think whenever you would try to go from like sprint to aiming, it almost looked like the weapon tried to go back to the standard hip fire position and then up to your aiming, which I don't know, also felt a little weird to me. Just, I don't know, animations didn't seem to chain together very well, and I guess that's something that could use some polishing, but maybe that's gonna be done anyway. I'm not gonna give them too much trouble over that, but I still think it's worth mentioning. Overall, I enjoyed the alpha. I mean, it's still Call of Duty. I'm always gonna enjoy it. There's, you know, some little things, little nitpicks here and there that I think could be better, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I'm really happy with it. I'm excited for the game. Yeah.